Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone to the June session of Dr. Spotfire. My name's Neil Canungo and I'm co-hosted today with Jose. Jose, you want to say hi to everyone?
Hello everyone, I'm Jose Leveguira here from the data science team in TIPCO, and I'm glad to be here to share about tips and tricks.
Yeah, today we're going to be doing uncommon authoring tips and tricks. So just a quick introduction slides and then we'll get going. First thing I always like to mention, learning is not driven by answers, but by questions. And that is our Dr. Spotfire logo. Let those questions drive your learning and your skill building. Just to let everyone know, these sessions are recorded and they're streamed live. You should find them on our YouTube session. If you miss them or you want to come back and review them later, you can find them posted right on our TIPCO Spotfire YouTube channel. And to let everyone know, there is a TIPCO data science channel. That link is actually wrong on the screen, and sorry about that. But if you search TIPCO data science on YouTube, you can find our TIPCO data science channel. We have lots of tips coming out there, and those are more of our AI applications and general use across the entire TIPCO analytics portfolio, including Spotfire and other tools. There is a Dr. Data Science session with Aether. That is on the third Wednesdays of every month at 9 a.m. Pacific. So if you're trying to up your data science skills, be sure to join Aether sessions. He's been doing quite a few of them, and they're getting pretty popular. So with that, we're going to get into today's feature session, which is uncommon authoring tricks. Jose and I are going to show you really some of those like hidden things within the Spotfire authoring experience that you may not think about using. So these are things that we've picked up over the years, and we kind of started trading notes, and I learned some new things from Jose. He learned some new things from me, and we said, hey, why don't we share this with the rest of our community on these little tips. So some of them are intermediate, you may know them, and some of them are more hidden, and hopefully this session helps you with your whole authoring experience, just makes you a better Spotfire developer overall. So with that, Jose, I'm going to share your screen here. Let's go ahead and where is it? Okay, let's go ahead and add your screen there to the stream. And do you want to get started with maybe ways to copy visualizations?
Yes, of course, Neil. And sometimes, we are so much into the Spotfire, and we have these ways of working with the Spotfire. So we tend to do the same thing over and over. And when we change or see how other people do things, then we learn stuff. So yes, let me show you how to copy visualizations and save a couple of clicks here and there. So I'm going to start by opening this common file that you can find in the samples. When you install in Spotfire, you might be familiar with this analysis. I'm going to open the sales and marketing. So I was already working on that, but let's start from scratch.
And while Jose is loading that, I just want to mention to everyone, feel free to ask your questions right in the chat. We'll bring them on the screen, and we can say hi to you. We see Jolene's here saying hi. Hi, Jolene. How are you? And Filippo, good to see you, Filippo. And GM here. Good evening to you as well. So yeah, definitely let us know if you're here, and if you have any questions, we'll bring them on the screen as we go. Make this fully interactive with you. So that, Jose, yeah. So we all know how to copy visualizations, right? We can right click on a visualization and we can go to copy visualization. But there's some tricks to do this a little bit faster. So you want to show us some of those tricks?
Yeah, so for example, one trick is to drag and drop. You know how you can drag the visualization and move it over? And then you can place it somewhere in the screen. Actually, I can press and hold the control key. And by pressing and holding the control key, I can find a lot of hidden tricks like this. You see how the cursor, Neil, shows a little plus sign? That's because I'm copying the visualization while I'm pressing the control key.
I didn't even notice that plus sign. See, here we are in the live session. I'm learning new things already. So you get a little plus sign. So that's going to actually duplicate the visualization if you hold control down.
Right. I'm going to keep pressing the control key, and then I'm going to let go my mouse button. And there you go. Now I have a duplicate visualization.
Nice.
Another trick.
When you, if you have, to do a different variants of the same visualization. So you want to like maybe change just a couple things, but you don't want to change the whole thing. You can just copy the visualization and make the minor changes that way.
Exactly. Yes, I'm going to show you more tricks while copying visualizations. But before we move to the control-click tips, I want to show you another way to copy visualizations when the title bar is hidden, because this drag and drop trick is only available when the title bar is on. But when it's not, and you want to copy the visualization without having to turn on the title, here's a shortcut. You can always, right-click and copy visualization from here. Or sometimes I think with a text area, if I click, there is no way to copy the visualization by doing the right click. So I can just go ahead and edit, copy spatial, and copy active visualization. Now I have this visualization copied, and I can put it somewhere else, maybe in a new page, edit, copy spatial, paste, just paste, or Control V. And there you have it, without having to mess with the title thing.
That's really nice. Yeah. So I was always going in and right clicking and turning on my titles just to copy just to move the visualization around and copy it. But that's nice that you can just use. I never really used that active visualization option in the menu. So that's a good use of it. What about the column selectors? So I was doing this thing where if I was configuring a chart, I was dragging a column selector from one to another. I would lose it where it was. And maybe what I'm saying doesn't make sense. So you can show what I mean there, Jose.
Okay, so you mean when you drag and drop this selector and put it here, then you lose this one at the bottom.
I lose it. Yeah.
Okay, so again, if you press and hold the Control key, this time you won't see a plus sign, but it will preserve your selector here. And this is particularly useful when you are maybe you have a custom expression, or you want to change the axis, maybe on a scatter plot. You want to move it from here to here. Well, in this case, I can just move it here, and then without dragging, I can just move the other one, and now I kind of pivot my scatter plot that way.
There we go. Yeah. So that's also useful when you have the legend open and you have a lot of selectors in the legend, and you want to kind of move things around and configure your visualization from scratch.
Exactly. When you have the legend and you have a lot of things here, I can always move the color by, for example. Right now, I don't have the selectors here on the color by, but I'm going to show you how to turn them on and off. And that took me a while to realize, and it was so simple, because I used to just go ahead and select the labels that I didn't want to show on the legend. But if you click on this one, it has some additional settings here. So I can show the title, or I can show the selectors. And now that I have the selectors on, I can move and move the color around to other visualizations.
Yeah, and I used to leave those on too. I find that they cluttered the dashboard. So if I just have something that's colored by, I go in and I turn off, just like you had it there. I turn off the show title and turn off the show axis selector, because I think it's pretty understood that these are the colors that are being used, and it makes it a little bit cleaner of a display.
Yeah, I'm going through that once again. Just go to the legend, click on color, hide everything there, and there you have. Now it's nice and clean for this one in particular.
Mm-hmm.
And you can always adjust the size of your legend. There is a little, you have to move your mouse slowly until you see that change cursor type, so you can adjust it properly.
Right. So moving on from there, so we have hiding titles and legends. We have clicking and dragging on the selectors. What about marking tips, right? So I see you have a scatter plot there. And if you just dragged and dropped on there, you would get this box, right?
Yes.
But what if you wanted to mark just a few different points and you don't want that box? What can I do?
Well, there are two ways. One, you can just for example, you are interested in the big ones, you select these ones. If you want to mark additional ones, then you press and hold the shift key, and then you mark these ones. But sometimes it's hard to just draw boxes and many boxes to select the ones that you are interested in. But if you press and hold the Alt key, it will be, you can draw and select those elements that you are interested in. For example, these ones.
Right.
So it's basically the same as changing to the lasso selector. But even on a map, if I don't have that option selected and I just drag and drop with that, I see the square. But if I press the Alt key, I can still draw the data points that I am interested in looking at.
You get a little bit more control with that lasso select.
Exactly. And the same thing holds true for a data table or a cross table. I'm going to show you more tricks on this table, but you press and hold the control key, and then you can select multiple items.
Right. And that's useful, especially when you're building like analytics apps. We have a question here from Filippo. Is there any way to duplicate a text area containing calculated values, or is it better to duplicate the calculated values without having to create them from scratch every time? You can just duplicate, if you have a text area calculated values, you can just duplicate that text area, and Spotfire is going to create new objects for you for those calculated values. And then if you want to then edit those calculated values, you can go into that text area and you change them that way. So that's the best way to do it. Is if you have a very sophisticated or complex text area with a lot going on, a lot of different controls in there and calculated values, just copy that text area, and then you can further customize them on each page after that if you need to.
So let me now that we are on this data table, let me show you a couple of tricks also that they have to do with Control Shift with data tables. So if you want to sort this, you just click on the header and then you see all these options, and then you can sort it like that, right? But that takes 2 clicks. If you want to short the clicks, I can just press and hold the shift key, and then I can sort it. I can sort them. But there's another trick. If I press and hold Control and Shift key at the same time, then I can sort first by store, and then sort by store type, and then sort by rank, for example.
That's a new one. I didn't even know that one. You just surprised me with another one there, Jose. So,
yeah, this is pretty useful because sometimes you want to group or kind of see things on the table, and I use this all the time.
That's a great one.
Here's another trick on the control thing trick. So if I want to resize the header, I can always do this, right? If I double click, I'm going to resize only that header to the size that it fits the data. But if I want to resize everything at once, I can just press the control key and then resize, and everything resizes. See? If I press the control key and double click right there when I'm about to resize the header, then I was expecting for everyone to resize at the same time. But if you have ideas or feedback like that, just remember I submitted this idea in the ideas portal. It's ideas.tipco.com, and you can share this type of ideas. Like, just double click on that. I would like to resize everything at once without having to go one by one. Imagine you have a table with multiple columns. That will be a hassle.
Yeah, and you can also right click in there and say resize columns automatically, and that will resize columns to fit, and that will move all of them out.
Exactly. I know it was possible to do so, but I was looking for a shortcut. But yeah, this works. Right click,
resize columns to fit right there. There you go. And then we got a question from Dave Williams. Do these tricks work in the web player? These do work in the web player, as far as I know. Every time I've tested, they do. So
yes, for the most part.
Yeah. And then another question from Mihal. Mihal was saying, how do you set the color alerts for cell values based on cross table, based on other another column which is not using in the cross table. You can't set it from data that's not in the cross table unless you start using document properties, right? So document properties are where you can set color rules based off of different data. But in your visualization properties, you go into your color settings, and then in your color settings, you can set rules. I don't know if you want to show that real quick, Jose, on the first page, just how to create rules.
Yeah.
If you go to maybe the sales and performance page, and then if you go into the visualization properties on that scatter plot, and then you go into colors, you see a little button there that's add rule. And so you can add rules for different things. You can use this on cross tables as well. But if you want it to be on data that's outside of the cross table, you should use a document property here.
Yeah. I can do a custom expression, and then I can plug in my document properties. And
that's another good tip, right? What you did right there is custom expression. So always keep an eye out for where you can use custom expressions, because that's an indication that you're going to get a lot more control over what data is being shown. When you have an expression editor, you can add a lot of, you can add logic in there. You can add complex conditions. And that will actually really enhance like how you highlight your insights in your dashboard.
Yeah, that's right. So now that while we are here in the custom expression editor, one new addition, I didn't know it existed for years, but I'm glad it works, that I can comment my expression.
That was added, I think, in Spotfire 10.10 or one of the versions of, I think it was 10.8 or 10.10. But comments are really good for when you need to pass DXP to someone else, and you want them to be able to like understand what is going on in your expression. So just a double / and you can add that comment.
Another tip I got from Jolene is to, and that along with having these comments in the custom expression, is to simplify your expression. Maybe you have a long, complex custom expression, but you can put parts of that custom expression in document properties. So your expression might look like something like total sales per year. This will be a document property divided by another document property here, and so forth. So that way, maybe this document property has a complex expression. Another tip to know, if you want to say, if you want to see how your document property value is, I can always comment. For example, I'm working on this expression. I comment that out, and then I plug. Maybe this is a document property, and I can see that the value here. Well, I'm gonna delete that because it's the resulting expression is rendering what's on the text area. So even if I have comments,
and if that's a little small for us to see, we might as well do that other tip.
Oh yeah,
just scroll with your scroll wheel, and you can
scroll wheel, but not only just the scroll wheel. I press and hold the control key. So the control key is very powerful for many things. Yeah. So you can take a peek view of what this custom expression looks like here in the resulting expression. So another idea I have is to not render the comments on the resulting comment expression, because that's confusing. I just realized that now.
And we had a quick question from Mark Palmer. Do the color rules that we were talking about earlier, do they work for mods too? They do definitely work for mods, and the color. Once you have the color options and the visualizations properties, you can set rules in there. If your mod's been set up that way, right?
Yeah. And also in this editor, while in the editor, if you press Control F, then
I forgot about that one. That's another good one.
Yeah, you have this very powerful find and replace toolbox where I can just find items in the code. This is particularly useful when you're doing scripts in either JavaScript or Iron Python. You can search and you can make a very sophisticated regular expression and find everything you need to work with here, and then you have other options for find and replace. Yeah.
Great. Are there any other expression tips? I think I was jumping ahead of you there earlier. I don't want to make sure I'm not skipping over any other tips. Can you think of anything else with custom expressions?
Sure. Let me see. Oh yeah, this is a very cool one. I use it all the time, and not many people knows about it. So let's say I'm working on my custom expression, and I want to replace this column. So sometimes it's hard for me to select, including the brackets, everything that is sent, just to replace with some other expression, right? So what I do is double click. Let me zoom this in. What I do is double click the first square bracket, and that will automatically highlight the entire thing.
Right, because if you double click just a word, it'll only highlight that word.
Right.
And that's kind of a pain. And so I was going back and I was highlighting the whole thing. And then you showed me this trick. Oh, double click the bracket.
Yeah. It has to be the first bracket, because if I do the second bracket, it just only highlight the second bracket. Another tip, if I go to the beginning of the expression and they press and hold the shift key and click at the end of where I want to highlight, and that's true, that is true with any Windows application, but it will highlight all the way to that, but not the bracket thing. That's particular for Spotfire.
And then just a quick reminder, because Filippo was asking, how do I open the search and replace a form? It's just a simple Control F or Control H. So Control F for find and Control H for replace.
Yeah. Okay, good stuff. And let me show you now. Are there any more questions, Neil?
I think we've gotten to them all, except for Mark. Mark is asking me what's in my coffee cup, and it's just Pete's coffee, Mark. Just Pete's coffee with a little creamer. Keep me going this morning.
All right, sounds good. Okay, so I'm going to show you now some tips on filtering data. So I'm going to have a new page. I'm going to add a table visualization. I put this icon, this table visualization. You might not have it here, but it's a shortcut that you can customize. I'm going to show you in a little bit how to customize that. But here now I have my data table. I'm going to create another data table. I'm going to copy this over by pressing the Control key. Then now I have a copy. Then change to these two. And now I have two data tables, and they're not related yet. If I open my filter panel, I can see that I have two data tables, this one and this one. I'm going to collapse them. But now I can see my two data tables right here with available columns for each one of them. So I want to, they have some kind of relationship. And I can see the relationship by looking at the column state name and also these one state. So I want to relate them. So I go to data table property. And I'm going to show you why I'm relating this information. Actually, before I do that, let's say I have these two filter panels. Maybe I have a text area with a filter panel, but I'm using only these filters, but I want to filter the data on the other table. So if I filter on this table, I'm just going to filter this table, but I actually want to filter both tables at the same time. So for that, I have to have that relationship going. So I go to data table properties, go to the relations, and I manage my relations by selecting either of these two tables. Doesn't matter which one you choose. So at the end, you'll have one on the left, one on the right, and I'm going to relate by state name, and the other one is the state. Now, this left method and right method is just in case, and I have a preview on how my data looks like here. But sometimes in my table, the sample value is all in capitals and not in this one. So I want to make sure they both, it's up to you if you want to use this. This is optional, but it's a good practice to maybe do uppercase and then uppercase on the other side, so you can normalize the data on both sides. And then I click OK. And now now my data is related. And I can tell if the data is related by looking at these icons right here. Okay, so now if I filter something in this table, well, right now it's not going to do anything because I have to tell the other table that I want to filter values based on the selection on the other related table. So filtering in USA, which is this one, USA states, I can just include filter rows only. And that way now I'm filtering only these let's do only California. And now everything on my table is California. Are there any questions on that filtering tip?
Nothing on filtering. We have a question on custom expressions, but we'll come back to that one in a second. Let's keep moving forward with filtering.
Okay.
And you did show that clicking on the icon, you can choose which tables that are filtered, right?
Yes.
Right there. Okay, cool.
Yes.
So that's a little bit.
Yeah, maybe I can do the other way around. Maybe I want to select everything except the one I selected on that one, and that's what this other one is for. Mm-hmm. So now everything except the one that is selected it should be. Is that right?
That table. So it's showing it on the left table, right?
Yeah.
Exclude filter out roles or just ignore the filtering. Yeah.
Okay. So now I have that ignore the filters, and there's another cool trick about filtering data. So let's say I'm going to clear my filters, and let's say I am interested in the rankings of these stores. So I'm going to open the other table, this one. I'm going to forget about this one for a little bit. So I'm only interested in those that are ranked from 2 to 1,000. So I can move this around, but if I want to do that faster, I can just double click the value and put 1,000, click enter, and now I have that a value here. It wouldn't be nice to just, while in your any input in a Spotfire, just move your mouse wheel and change the value on this. That's another idea you can submit in the ideas portal. Anyways, so now I have this rank from 2 to 1,000, and I want to make sure that every time I open the analysis, that filter, if you will, is going to be preset to only show the first 1,000 ranked.
Yeah, like what if I don't want to set this filter every time? What if I know I only want that data 2 to 1,000? How can I create the filter to show the rank there 2 to 1,000? How do I create a filter that will just filter my actual data table so that all the visualizations will only be limited by that max?
Okay.
Is there a way to create a filter transformation?
Exactly. Just right click and then create a filter transformation. And that's a shortcut. And now I have well, this is the available data. There's no, the maximum is 989. But if I go to my data canvas, I can see that there's a transformation already going here, right here. See?
And you go to information.
Yes.
And there you can see that. So that expression was automatically created by right-clicking and going to create filter transformation.
That's right. There's another cool trick about changing transformations, rather. So let's say I am in my USA table right here, right? But I want to look at the data, and I don't like the way the column names are. It's kind of inconsistent because, and this is very common when the data comes from the database. They have their own standards, and one of the first thing I do is to change the column names to be, so I can just add a transformation. I'm going to go to data, transform data, and then I'm going to change column names. So I go insert, and then I'm going to,
you're on the other table.
Yeah, that's right. I have to go to that table that I want to change the column names. So I change the column names. I want to change everything at once, all the columns. I don't care. I'm going to change all the column names. And then I can use an expression. For example, I can do lower, and then I put the expression the column name. So the column name is a shortcut for this.
%C in
Yeah,
brackets.
%C, and everything is now lowercase.
And you can use that to remove like underscores.
I can
as well.
be a little bit more regular expression. Sorry.
Yeah, you can use that to remove underscores as well, because there's those functions on the left next to the insert. So you can go to substitute and substitute an underscore with a space, and then that will clean up all your column names as well on the function. So, and you can also do a proper case as well. So
yeah, so let's do this. Now I remove the lowercase like that.
Or yeah, that's what you remove the underscore right
The
there.
underscore, yes. But now I want to be a little bit more creative. And now what I'm going to do is, oops, I already have my expression here. I'm just going to copy paste the expression that I have on my notepad. So I'm going to paste, and this will give me the proper case. Let me just replace first the underscore. So let's see.
Yeah, you got to substitute.
Yeah, so instead of, I'm going to replace this right here.
And if you know regex, there's a full regex capabilities here for customizing the names.
Yes, all these functions are the ones from Spotfire. I can do all kind of functions and calculations, string functions, most likely to change the column names. So now with this custom expression, I can change to proper case, remove the underscore, and have somewhat readable column names.
And that's nice for when you have table visualizations and you want clean titles on your table visualizations.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, another trick while we are here. Let's talk about the unpivot the data quickly. So let's say I want to unpivot a couple of columns. So I go here, and then I go to my other table on my column, and then I'm going to unpivot maybe, let's see the region and store name or store type. So I'm pressing the control key and clicking on these columns, so I can select multiple, or I can just click this little icon right here. But I can just select with the control key click. So now I have these two selected. I can select multiple columns. Then I go to right click, and then I do unpivot. So that's a shortcut to create transformation, and I can see the transformation here. And this is what I did. It created all these unpivot and settings. So when I go to data, I can see what happened and how my data was unpivoted.
Nice. I like that. I use that all the time when I'm just on the fly. I'm just creating real quickly. And when you go back to your data panel, your data flyout, it created a column called category and value, and then you can just rename those however you like them. If you want to. So
where is that?
You just right click on there, and you can rename, or you have to select one at a time.
Oh.
And then you can right click and just rename a column.
Oh, yeah. Category and value. Yes.
That's another way to quickly rename columns that you want to display in Spotfire. So we showed how to do the regex and how to edit all the column names. And a little tip, what Jose was showing just a couple minutes ago with, removing the underscore and you doing the proper case and all of that. Those are things I like to do at the beginning of all of my analysis. I like to clean up all of my column names, because as I build the analysis, I'm going to start adding more custom expressions and using access expressions and data functions. And if those are a lot harder to go back and change all the column names later. So one of the first things I do is clean up all the column names to something I like.
Yeah. I was going to show you how to customize this toolbar, and that's pretty intuitive. just right click, customize toolbar, and then you have a list of all the visualizations that you have here. And then maybe I'm creating a mod visualization, and then I just, because I'm using it too often, I can just put it here, and it will be the same for tools or any other tool or shortcut that I want to have here on my toolbar. I can rearrange them, put dividers, things like that.
Yeah. And back to the pivots, Jolene mentioned pivot is also a great way to get unique rows. If you, this is actually a really excellent point. So if you go to you can actually go to a cross table and visualize unique rows. If you want to show that real quick, Jose.
Yes. So let me create a cross table.
But we'll do the cross table first. So yeah, you can change right there on that left axis. You can change, like, let's say that's by state or something, territory. Yeah, make it state. And then you can see this allows you to actually get the unique rows of the state, but then you're getting an aggregate of the other values because the other values have to be collapsed in. So if it was sales, maybe you want to put sales in there, Jose, on the bottom selector.
Sales.
Yeah, maybe it's class sales. Yeah, so there's a total sales by state. So those have to be aggregated in a way. If you go back to the transformations on the data canvas, then you can actually add a transformation for pivot as well, and this will give you just the unique rows of those by state. So transform data there, and then you can add a pivot transformation. And this allows you to actually collapse your data in on your data table. And the benefit of doing this over the cross table is that this is going to make your data load a lot faster. If you do this on data load, we talked about this in the Dr. Spotfire session on data canvas tips. If you do transformations on the source node, which is that far left node, and you do it on data load, then you can actually control how much data comes into Spotfire. And if you're doing something like a pivot where you're reducing the number of rows, it's great to do that on the source node. So then Spotfire loads a lot faster.
Yeah.
We're not really prepared to show that, so just kind of talking through that whole thing. So.
Okay. Sounds good. What else can we talk about, Neil?
So someone was asking about recommendations on using custom expression syntax with external data sets. So when you're using external data sets, the custom expressions are going to be dictated by what that database is capable of doing. So you look at the documentation of what are some of the expressions and aggregations that are possible with that external data set. But if you find like, hey, I want to use the Spotfire expressions with this external data set, what that data has to be done is brought into the Spotfire engine. And so that means using in-memory data. And in your data canvas, we're not prepared to show this right now, but I can just talk through it. In your data canvas, when you have an external data set, you can choose to keep the data external or import that data into memory. If you import that data into memory, then it's in the Spotfire engine. You get the data functions, you get all the expressions, you get all those rich features. But just keep in mind, to import the data into Spotfire memory, that external data has got to transfer over the wire into the Spotfire engine. So the load time of the dashboard will increase because it just has to transfer it to Spotfire versus keeping it external. So you have a trade-off there. Do you want to usually for big data sets that are used for a lot for reporting, the data is kept external and the aggregations are done with the external database capable expressions and functions. And then, with smaller data sets or more analytical data sets that you want to do deeper analysis on, those you bring into the Spotfire memory and use the full Spotfire engine for. What else can we talk about? So you showed the creating a document property. How about some of the application defaults for quick authoring? So something to speed things up.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I can go to options, and then I can play with all these settings. I like to set my defaults, for example, my application defaults. I always like to have the in my document, I like to have my initial visualizations to be a table. So I am going to select my table here, if I can find it right here, and that's whenever I load data, my first visualization is the table. It used to be the default table, used to be, I think, a scatter plot or a bar chart. I don't remember. But I always like to see what I'm loading on a table visualization as a default. So I also, when dealing with tables, I can go to my table, and also I like to add new columns automatically. This is usually unchecked by default, because sometimes when you create a calculated column and you're working on a table visualization, you don't see that column popping out in your table visualization. So what you do is have this on, and every time you create a new column, it will show up there.
And that one's really going to be a matter of preference on how you design what kind of dashboards and analysis you design. Because if you create a calculated column, sometimes you want those to pop up automatically, and like how Jose said, but sometimes you don't want to pop up automatically and then have to go back and remove them from all your table visualizations. So it's just going to depend on what kind of reports you're making.
Yeah. So I have another one for the maps. This one is also pretty cool to have. So when I go to map chart, I can add default web map service.
TMS layer as well. Actually, if you scroll up and you go add over there, you can add actually custom layers that will start every time you load your. So I like to add, like for instance, a satellite layer and a light theme layer here. So do you want to show them the TMS layers page, Jose?
Sure. I have right here. So here the TMS layer in the typical community, and here is a light theme. So I can just copy paste this one. And then
there's a bunch of layers on this page. If you search for TMS layers Spotfire, you'll find this page that has tons of layers, including satellite layers and traffic views and street views and bike routes and all kinds of things. Some of them you have to pay for a subscription with the provider of the layers, whether it's Cardo or TomTom or Esri, and then some of them are free. So it'll say which ones are free and which ones you need an API key for, but we've brought them all together for you here. So you can grab those TMS layers, and then in your application default, you can add these to each of your maps individually on each of your visualizations as you're creating. You can add them to each of your maps, or if you say, hey, I always want a satellite layer and I always want a light layer or something like that, you can add it to the application defaults that Jose's showing you right now. And then that time, every time you create a map, it'll automatically have this layer in there for you.
Yeah. So now that I have that and I add a map,
you'll have to restart the application in order for the changes to take effect. But when you restart the application, then every time you add a map, then that will come into effect.
Okay, that's a good point. All right.
And then visualization colors is another one as well, right, Jose?
Yes, let's go to the visualization color. You mean you want to have a default color theme?
Default color theme, yeah. So you can go to the visualizations option, that fourth option, and then you can have a default categorical and default continuous color theme right there, as well as a default fixed color for any of your first visualizations.
Yeah. So I can I can copy the and have that as my preference from I have these two files that Neil sent me, this categorical color. Am I selecting the right one? Yes, categorical. I click open, and then I do the same for this one. Sorry, let's go open file, continues, and now I have that, and I can apply it. So every time I open I have to restart, but once I do that, I can quickly choose from my colors. Let me show you.
Maybe it's worth a restart. Do we want to do a restart? And
yeah, let's do that. Okay. So let's do, I'm going to save this, but I'm going to open a new instance of a Spotfire. Let me see.
And while that's going up, Piyush was asking, can you have restrictions at a visual level to restrict visuals to be available for just a set of users? There's no real like out of the box way to restrict visuals to do visualization level security. But what you can do is maybe use some Iron Python to read the username and try to then hide certain data tables or hide certain pages based off of which users logged in. You could try to do something like that. Is Spotfire loading up for you, Jose?
Yes, it's loading on a different window, but it's about to open.
Okay, that's no problem. We'll go through with a couple other questions. So Tusif was asking, what's the best way to sort multiple columns with custom sort, or which has huge data? What I like to do is so you can sort in a table visualization, just like as Jose was showing earlier by clicking on the top of the headers of the table visualization. But there's another way where you can actually sort a data table in the data canvas. And if you go to tipco.com/fx, there's a sort data table data function, and that you can plug right into your data canvas, and it will sort the data table using a Python or R script, and that will sort it for the actual data table underneath the visual canvas.
Okay, I have it up and running.
Okay, let's bring your screen back on.
Okay, so samples, sales and marketing.
So you had changed two things. You changed the default colors for the visualizations, and you changed the maps.
Yes, that's right. There's another one I want to show you that's very useful for to have the units on your axis.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's another one. So, well, let's finish up on this one. So.
Oh yeah, the colors. Yeah.
So if you just create a new visualization, like a scatter plot.
Yeah. So let's create a new visualization on a blank page, and here's my scatter plot.
You see how those are different colors? That's because the color scheme that you had just uploaded as a default colors, that had these colors set as a default. So now those will always load. And if you create a map.
Oh yeah, let's create a map. Let me create a map now. There we go.
See, now there's a light layer on the background of the map as default because that was in the application defaults. And Jolene made a good point. Did we show how to save the document color schemes? We didn't show that. So if you go to the visualization colors or the visualization properties and then colors, you can edit these colors around, and then you can just save it as a file or save it on the library to share it with other people at your organization.
Yeah, thanks, Jolene. So
all right, so let's do the axis formatting, and then we'll kind of move on to a couple small tips and wrap up for today. So
yeah, so the last tip I have for the options right here is this symbol set. So for example, let's say I go to my axis formatting, and then I go to edit symbol set. See the symbol sets I have here is decimals and whatnot. I can edit my symbol set, and then I can add a new symbol set. And maybe I'm working on the energy industry. I use a lot of kilowatts or amps or things like that. Or on the oil and gas industry, I use barrels, oil field barrels of oil. So I can do oil and gas. It's going to be my symbol set. And then I can start adding my units of measure. So for example, I know that 1 million, so the exponent is going to be 6, and my symbol set is going to be BBL, or actually
MM, yeah, or
yes. million MBBL. I click OK, and then I have that symbol set there. If I want to I can just keep adding my exponentials, 9, 12, whatever, and then I can keep adding the symbol set. For example, I can add, well, for the one of 9, that will be MMBBL. Okay, and that now I have 2 units of measures. I don't have a data set here with the numbers that go that big, but it will, well, actually it does. So let's say that y-axis is the millions of barrels, let's say. Or should I create another visualization? Let's do a bar chart. Okay, this one. So I edit my right click on the axis, go directly to the properties, and then I change the formatting.
Yeah, so, axis formatting.
Yeah, axis formatting right here. Thank you. And then on my value axis, I can use a number.
Well, it doesn't show. You got to restart the application again. So anytime you change those application defaults, you got to restart the application. Then it'll show up here.
Yeah. Actually, I think I don't know if
you're right. Sorry.
I don't remember if I did it before or if it works now. But yeah, okay. This is how it should look like. Let's see if I have the units.
You don't have a big enough value there, but
yeah. Okay. Well, maybe I can just, oh, that's a row count. Well, what if I multiply by 1,000?
Where's add more zero? Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
I think
let me make sure I'm getting that right. Maybe we do need to restart. Let me check. Formatting, value, just maybe number. Oh yeah, you're right, because the symbol set has to be. Yeah, well, anyways, I think you do have to restart
the application. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's kind of wrap this up. We're kind of coming up on time. Just showing locking window size.
Oh yeah, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, and then sharing a link from the web player.
Yes. Okay. So if there's something new. I don't remember when it came out, but it's pretty handy. If I go to visualization, page layout options, I can see these page layout options, and this means that when my window size is less than 600 pixels, it's going to wrap one below the other.
And you can also get that by right clicking on the tab that you're on. You can get the page layout options as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like right click and
page layout options.
There you go. Learn something new every day. So if I resize my window and make it less than 600, I can see that it's in that
it made it vertical. Yeah.
Otherwise, if I don't check that and then I close, then it's going to keep shrinking and shrinking. So it's good for mobile versions.
And just designing for different screen sizes as well. Add the scroll bar to the whole canvas so you can move around and it won't crunch up the visualizations. If you do it right, then you can design for different screen sizes very well this way, and not have the visualizations all crushed yet.
Yeah, this is different than when you go to document properties and change the canvas size for a custom size. That will be always fixed.
That's a canvas size, yeah.
Yeah, that's a canvas size. Let's do this, for example, and then it's going to be always this size. But I can still, I can still do the, or maybe not, the layout option. It only works when you have a dynamic fixed size document properties, and then fit to window. And now I have page layout options. Yeah, okay. So only when you have fit to Windows, the page layout option works. And then finally, you mentioned about sharing on the sharing. So this
yeah. So do you have a web player link open, or?
Yes, I can view library. This is another new addition. So I can just, before I used to go to document property, copy the URL from the document property, open a web browser, paste it and all that. But now you have it directly here when you click View Library, and that will open a new page. Let me bring that screen here, and it will open a new page, and then I can open my my recent analysis or the sales and marketing. And then I can share
and copy link. And this is a new feature actually with the configuration. Sorry, I know you're showing configuration blocks. This is an older feature you can do in older versions, but go ahead and show what you were going to show.
Oh, okay.
Hiding the headers and everything.
Yes. So this is going to create a link with a bunch of options here. Those options are configuration block, and it will let you share some items that you want to show or not. Like, for example, help, about, log. I can remove this. I can make it very clean. I don't want the user to close or anything like that. So if I want to make it very, very clean, then I just
want to keep page navigation on.
Yeah, page navigation.
You leave that one on.
Yeah, these two are useful, but let's say I want to have that. Then I have this link. So when I when I copy the entire thing and open a new page, check out the configuration block. I probably did it too fast, but this is the configuration block, and then it's adding all these.
Now it hit all the menus all around it, and it's just a clean dashboard.
Yeah, that versus that I can have the toolbar and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's.
And there's this new feature. If you go to File and Share, I think maybe it's in go to the library.
Tools.
Do you have the library open as well?
Yeah.
So go to the three dots there. Yeah. Copy link, and then you can get the link to the analysis right there. Yeah. But I think that is kind of wrapping it up for us with time. So that was a lot of tips. That was kind of a speed run of just a bunch of little things Jose and I have been teaching each other, and we saw some from Jolene as well. Jolene was our hackathon winner last year, and Jolene's actually doing a session for TAF, Typical Analytics Forum, which is next week. It's free. There's free training involved. There's a hackathon, and there's a bunch of sessions. It's a user-focused conference. So you can go to analyticsforum.tipgo.com, and you can actually sign up for free for TAF, which is Monday through Wednesday. The hackathon and the training are on Wednesday, and then the sessions, the keynotes and the sessions are on Monday and Tuesday. And Jolene's got a session where she's going to show some of these tips as well. So if you want to see more authoring tips from our previous hackathon winner, I'd recommend that. And
Neil and me are going to show how to create new visualizations. So that's going to be a cool session.
We're going to show how to create mods. Jose is going to create a mod from scratch in 15 minutes. So he's going to show you how you can start getting going and creating your own custom visualization. So
yes, these and other topics we will be presenting tomorrow. I think we're going to announce like a teaser or preview of what we're going to talk about.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining, and we'll see you next month, the first Tuesdays of every month at 9 a.m. Pacific. So I think it'll be July 5th, just after the July 4th holiday. We'll have our next session, and you all have a great week. Thank you for joining us today. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.